When you never break no contact, the silence you leave behind becomes a language of its own. At first, she might not even notice it. She's too caught up in the illusion of control, thinking she's made the right choice, that walking away from you is freedom. She may even feel relief in those early days, convincing herself that you were the problem, that she deserves something better. But as the days turn into weeks and the weeks into months, something begins to change. The world around her gets quieter, emptier, colder, because whether she admits it or not, your presence had a weight, a calm, a steadiness. And now that it's gone, she feels it more than ever. That's what happens when you don't break. When you hold your ground, your silence becomes a mirror, forcing her to face herself, her decisions, her pride, her mistakes. Every man she meets after you feels temporary, like an echo that never sounds quite right. They may have her attention for a moment, but not her soul, because deep up down, she starts to realize that she can't replace what she never truly appreciated. And what used to be your messages, your calls, your concern, now replaced by silence, begins to eat away at her confidence. She wonders why you're not reaching out, why you're not breaking, why you're not doing what every other man does, beg for her attention, chase her validation. And in that wondering, she starts to lose the power she once had over you. No contact is not just absence, it's presence in disguise. It's the loudest statement you'll ever make without saying a single word. It says, I've chosen peace over pain. I've chosen self respect over weakness. It reminds her that you're no longer available for manipulation or emotional confusion, that you've detached from the version of yourself that tolerated inconsistency and disrespect. The silence tells her that she doesn't have access to your energy anymore. And that realization doesn't just sting, it haunts her. She'll replay your last words, your last look, the last message you sent. She'll check your profile, searching for clues, wondering if you've moved on, if someone else has your attention now. Every photo you post, every change in your energy becomes a signal, even if it's not meant for her. Because while you're healing, she's analyzing. While you're growing, she's guessing. And that's the power of never breaking no contact. You shift the balance of energy completely. But here's what makes it even deeper: your silence is not a game. It's not about making her jealous or winning her back. It's about regaining your inner strength, the kind that doesn't depend on her response. Because when you stop trying to prove your worth to someone who couldn't see it, you finally prove it to yourself. You realize that love without self respect is nothing but emotional slavery, and the only way to truly be free is to let your silence speak for you. In time, she'll feel the weight of that silence in ways you can't see. Maybe late at night when she scrolls through old photos. Maybe when she hears a song that reminds her of you. Maybe when she's with someone else who doesn't listen the way you did, doesn't care the way you did, doesn't see her the way you once did. And in that moment, regret hits her harder than your words ever could, because you didn't argue, you didn't chase, you simply disappeared with dignity. And that haunts her more than any fight or closure ever could. And that's the beauty of never breaking no contact. It's not about punishing her, it's about protecting your peace. Because when you stay silent long enough, the noise fades and clarity arrives. You stop needing to explain and she starts needing to understand. You stop waiting and she starts wishing. You become the piece she threw away and the silence she can't escape. And that's when you truly win, not because she regrets losing you, but because you finally stopped losing yourself. When you never break no contact, something powerful begins to happen inside you, something most people never get to experience because they're too afraid of the silence. You start to reclaim the power that was once scattered across every unanswered text, every desperate call, every sleepless night spent wondering what went wrong. No contact isn't just about cutting her off, it's about cutting off the version of yourself that allowed someone else to define your worth. It's the moment you stop chasing validation and start chasing peace. At first, it feels like withdrawal, like you're fighting your own instincts, because everything in you wants to reach out, to fix things, to make her understand what she lost. But with every moment you resist, you grow stronger. You begin to realize that power isn't found in getting her back, it's found in getting yourself back. The more you stay silent, the more you begin to see how much energy you used to waste on trying to be enough for someone who never appreciated it. That realization stings, but it also frees you. You start to shift from wanting closure to creating strength, from needing her attention to valuing your own focus. And it's in that silence where your confidence starts to rebuild itself. You remember who you were before the heartbreak, that calm, composed, ambitious version of yourself who didn't beg for love but attracted it naturally. You start hitting the gym not to get her attention, but to get your life back in balance. You start working harder, thinking clearer, and walking taller. That's the beauty of no contact. It transforms your pain into power. It doesn't just teach you to live without her, it teaches you to live above your old weaknesses. Meanwhile, she starts to feel the shift. She can sense that the energy she once controlled is no longer hers. She might not say it out loud, but deep down, she notices the change. You're not reacting, you're not chasing, you're not feeding the drama. That silence unsettles her because it breaks the cycle she depended on. You've stopped being predictable, and that unpredictability creates curiosity. She begins to wonder if you're really done this time, if you've finally seen through her games, if you've truly moved on. And while she's questioning, you're growing quietly, steadily, relentlessly. No contact isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's self control at its highest level. It's telling yourself that your emotions don't control you anymore, you control them. Every day you stay strong. You remind yourself that your worth doesn't depend on someone else's recognition. You start valuing peace more than attention, growth more than comfort, and self respect more than love that doesn't respect you back. That's real power, not the kind that dominates others, but the kind that masters itself. The irony is, the moment you stop trying to win her back is the moment she begins to feel the loss. Because true power isn't loud, it's silent. It's when you no longer need to prove anything. It's when you walk away, not out of anger, but out of awareness that you deserve more than half love and constant confusion. And once you taste that strength you'll never chase again, you start to realize that the person you needed to impress was never her. It was the version of yourself that forgot his value. You understand that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is no move at all, just silence, just distance, just self respect. And when that happens, something shifts forever. You no longer care if she texts, if she calls, or if she regrets, because the power you've regained isn't about her anymore. It's about you. You've become your own source of validation, your own foundation of strength. And that's when you finally understand that no contact was never about making her miss you. It was about reminding you who you really are. When you never break no contact, time starts working in your favor, slowly, silently, and powerfully. At first, she might convince herself that walking away was the right choice. She tells herself she's happy, that she's free, that she's finally moved on. But the truth is, no one ever forgets a connection that was real. No one truly erases the person who gave them genuine love, stability, and emotional safety. And as days pass without your voice, without your presence, something begins to shift in her heart. The silence that once felt like peace begins to feel like emptiness. That's when the mind begins its work. It starts to rewrite memories. The same moment she once criticized now looks softer, warmer. The things she thought were flaws begin to look like strengths. She starts remembering how you made her feel protected, valued, calm. She remembers your patience, your attention, the way you understood her even when she didn't understand herself. Every little thing about you that she once took for granted becomes clearer in hindsight, because the truth is, people don't really miss you when you're gone. They miss you when they realize no one else can replace what you gave. The human mind has a strange way of romanticizing the past, especially when reality doesn't live up to the fantasy she imagined. Maybe she meets someone new, someone exciting, someone different. But it doesn't take long before she notices what's missing: the emotional depth, the understanding, the quiet strength. She'll compare the new with the old, and deep down, she'll start realizing the value of what she walked away from. You won't have to say a single word, the silence does it for you. And that's the beauty of never breaking no contact. You give her the gift of contrast. She finally sees the difference between a man who is genuine and the ones who only pretend to be. The same stability she once called boring becomes the very thing she craves. The same man she thought was too available becomes the one she wishes would answer her again. That's when regret creeps in, slow, quiet, and painful, because your absence forces her to see the truth that her ego blinded her from. But here's what makes this phase so powerful: While she's stuck replaying the past, you're living in the present. While she's analyzing what went wrong, you're busy becoming better. You're not sitting around hoping she misses you. You're building a life that she no longer fits into. You're not focused on what could have been. You're focused on what's becoming. That's what makes no contact so transformative. It separates two timelines, one stuck in regret and one moving toward growth. And eventually the silence becomes unbearable for her. She starts to wonder if she misjudged you, if she should have fought harder, if maybe she let go of something real too soon. Those thoughts don't come all at once. They build slowly, piece by piece, until she can't ignore them anymore. And yet, by the time she realizes it, it's already too late because the man she remembers doesn't exist anymore. He's evolved, matured, and found peace in the space her absence created. That's the irony of never breaking no contact. The very distance that once scared you becomes the distance that saves you. You stop needing her validation because you've already validated yourself through growth. You stop longing for her presence because you've learned to love your own company. You stop replaying the past because you finally created a future that excites you more than any memory ever could. And when she finally looks back and starts to romanticize what you had, she won't just miss you, she'll miss the version of herself that existed when she was loved by you. But you won't be waiting because by then you'll have learned the most powerful lesson of all, that real strength isn't found in making someone regret losing you, it's found in never needing them to. When you never break no contact, you begin to realize that pain can either destroy you or rebuild you, and it all depends on what you do with it. At first, that silence hurts more than anything. You feel the emptiness, the confusion, the weight of everything unsaid. You wonder if she's thinking about you, if she misses you, if she even cares that you're gone. But with time, something starts to shift deep inside you. The pain that once felt unbearable begins to push you forward. You start to understand that every moment of silence is an opportunity, a test to turn your heartbreak into strength. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Because when you stay in no contact long enough, you begin to see how much of yourself you lost trying to hold on to someone else. You realize how much energy you gave away, how you dimmed your own light just to keep someone who didn't see your worth. And that realization burns, but it also wakes you up. That pain becomes your teacher, your motivator, your turning point. It's in that pain that your transformation begins. Every day you resist the urge to reach out. You're not just ignoring her, you're proving something to yourself. You're proving that you can control your emotions, that you can choose peace over chaos. You start to redirect that same intensity you once gave her into your own growth. You start working out not to distract yourself, but to rebuild your discipline. You chase your goals not to impress her, but to remind yourself of who you truly are. You begin reading, learning, improving, and little by little, you feel a shift in your energy. The weakness fades, the desperation disappears, the pain starts to feel different, it starts to feel like progress. That's the moment you begin to understand that no contact was never about her. It was always about you. It was about breaking the pattern that kept you trapped. You start to enjoy the silence because it's no longer empty. It's full of growth. You start feeling proud of yourself for holding the line, for staying true to your boundaries, for not letting your emotions control your life anymore. And in that strength, you find peace. While she's out there trying to fill her void with distractions, you're quietly building a version of yourself she won't even recognize anymore. You're leveling up in ways she can't see. And that's the best part. The same silence that once made you feel powerless becomes the foundation of your power. You're no longer reacting to what she does. You're focused on what you can become. And that transformation, that calm confidence, is something no one can take from you again. Because when you channel heartbreak into self improvement, something amazing happens. You stop chasing love and start attracting it. You stop needing people to complete you because you've finally completed yourself. And the stronger you get, the more you realize that you didn't lose her. You lost the version of you that needed her. You outgrew the pain. And that's something she'll never understand until it's too late. So when you stay in no contact, don't think of it as punishment or pride. Think of it as preparation for your next chapter, your next level, your next version. Because the truth is, the pain you're feeling right now is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're rebuilding, you're healing, you're becoming someone new. And one day you'll look back and realize that this silence, this transformation was the best thing that ever happened to you. And that's when you'll finally understand that no contact was never about making her regret losing you. It was about making sure you never lose yourself again. When you never break no contact, there comes a point when the silence starts to do what your words never could. She begins to feel it, not immediately, not loudly, but slowly in the quiet moments when her thoughts catch up to her. At first, she tries to act like it doesn't bother her. She'll scroll through her phone, go out with friends, maybe even post things to show how happy she is. But deep down, the curiosity begins to grow. She starts wondering why you haven't reached out, why you haven't caved, why the man who once cared so much has suddenly gone completely silent. That curiosity soon becomes confusion, and confusion turns into anxiety. That's when the power begins to shift because she was expecting you to break. She was expecting that text, that call, that moment of weakness. She thought you'd reach out just to check on her or to remind her that you still care. But when that message never comes, when that silence continues week after week, she begins to feel something she didn't expect: doubt. Doubt about her choices, doubt about her judgment, doubt about everything she thought she understood about you. And that doubt is the seed of regret. The silence starts to play tricks on her mind. She'll think about you when she least expects it, in the middle of the night, during her morning routine, or when she hears your favorite song. She'll pick up her phone, stare at your name, and wonder if you'd even respond if she texted you. But then she hesitates because she knows that breaking the silence would mean admitting she misses you. That's the power of staying quiet. It makes her face herself. It forces her to realize that you're not waiting anymore, that she no longer has control over your emotions. And when that realization hits, it stings because she starts to understand that the man who once begged for her time has now mastered his own peace. That the man who once needed her to feel complete has now become whole without her. The longer you stay in no contact, the clearer that message becomes. You're not being silent out of anger or pride. You're being silent because you've outgrown the version of yourself that needed closure from her. Your silence says everything her ego doesn't want to hear. I don't need you to move forward. Eventually, she'll start to look for reasons to reconnect. Maybe she'll send a random message, react to a story, or find some excuse to start a conversation. But by that point, you'll see it for what it is: not love, but curiosity. She's not reaching out because she's ready to give you what you deserve. She's reaching out because she's uncomfortable with the idea that you're fine without her. And that's where your strength is truly tested. Because real power is not in ignoring her, it's in understanding that you no longer have to respond. You no longer need to explain, to justify, or to prove anything. No contact was never meant to make her chase you. It was meant to remind you of your value. It was meant to show you that your peace, your energy, and your self respect are worth protecting. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you win a battle within yourself. You're no longer ruled by emotion, but guided by awareness. You've grown into someone who no longer begs to be understood because you finally understand yourself. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll have already moved past the point of needing her acknowledgement, because you'll know that the real closure didn't come from her apology, it came from your growth. And that's when she'll chase the closure you'll never give while you walk in the peace she'll never find. When you never break no contact, the final stage isn't about her missing you, it's about you finding peace. The journey that started with pain and confusion slowly transforms into something more meaningful: freedom. At first, you're still attached to the idea of her realizing her mistake, still hoping she'll see your worth, still imagining that moment when she reaches out and says, I was wrong. But as time goes on, something inside you begins to change. The longer you stay silent, the less you need her to say anything at all. You start understanding that peace isn't found in what she does next, it's found in what you choose to let go of. You begin to notice the difference between missing someone and needing them. Missing her is emotional, but needing her was dependence. And as the silence stretches, that dependence breaks. You start to enjoy your own company again. The quiet mornings, the late nights, the moments that used to feel empty now feel calm. The space that once felt like punishment becomes a sanctuary. Because the truth is, no contact isn't just distance, it's healing. It's giving yourself the time and space to rediscover who you were before heartbreak clouded your vision. You begin to forgive not just her, but yourself. You forgive yourself for staying too long, for ignoring the red flags, for trying to love someone who wasn't ready to receive it. You stop replaying the past because you realize it no longer defines you. Every moment of silence has been teaching you something: patience, strength, self control. And as you grow, the need for closure fades. You understand that closure was never something she could give you, it was something you had to give yourself. It's in this stage that you truly detach, not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of understanding. You see her not as the one who hurt you, but as the one who helped you find yourself again. You start to recognize that she was never your destination, she was your lesson. The person you became through the pain is the person you were meant to be all along. And once you realize that, the resentment disappears. You don't want revenge. You don't even want her back. You just want peace. And that peace is powerful. It's the kind that can't be shaken, the kind that no message or apology can disturb. You stop checking your phone, stop wondering if she's thinking of you, stop needing any kind of validation, because now you're driven by something greater than emotion. You're driven by clarity. You finally see that your worth was never lost, it was simply forgotten for a while. The silence reminded you of it. By the time she realizes what she lost, you've already healed from the version of yourself who once waited for her. You've built a life that no longer revolves around her presence or absence. You've found purpose again in your work, in your goals, in your peace. You've turned your pain into power, your heartbreak into motivation, your silence into strength. That's the transformation no one talks about. Not the moment she regrets, but the moment you no longer care if she does. Because true freedom isn't her missing you, it's you not needing her to. It's waking up one day and realizing that the silence no longer hurts, it soothes. It's when you finally understand that letting go isn't losing, it's winning. You didn't lose her, you simply outgrew the pain she came with. And that's the moment no contact fulfills its purpose. When you don't just survive without her, you thrive beyond her.